Benvenuti ad un nuovo appuntamento con gli incontri con la Chiesa che soffre, un appuntamento completamente diverso da quelli con i quali siamo soliti intrattenerci, perché sarà imperniato sulla visione pressoché per intero di un documentario realizzato da Aiuto alla Chiesa che soffre sulla figura splendida di un uomo, di un cristiano, di un cattolico che si è speso e ha speso e ha donato la sua vita per difendere le minoranze tutte, la comunità cristiana in particolare, e all'interno della comunità cristiana la figura di una donna, nello specifico appunto la figura di Asia Bibi. Sto parlando di Shahbaz Bhatti, un cristiano pakistano che nel 2011, era il 2 marzo, era una mattina del 2011, fu assassinato brutalmente perché da ministro unico cristiano del governo, da ministro delle minoranze religiose, spendeva la sua vita, spendeva le sue giornate per contrastare, ridimensionare la portata della legge anti-blasfemia, la famigerata legge nera, e al contempo per cercare di salvare la vita di una nostra sorella nella fede, di Asia Bibi, delle cui sorti ancora oggi purtroppo non abbiamo certezze, se non quella che sul suo capo pende ancora questa condanna a morte con un tribunale che non vuole prendere una decisione sulla eventuale e possibile revisione del processo. Ora sono 20 minuti, il documentario si interromperà ad un certo punto per il canonico passaggio pubblicitario, 20 minuti che racconteranno di questa figura splendida di Shahbaz Bhatti. Noi ci rivediamo per una conclusione al termine del documentario. Grazie e buona visione.
Minister Bhatti, we forgot one question in the interview. Your life is threatened by whom and what sort of threats are you receiving?
The forces of violence, militant band organization, the Taliban and pro-Al-Qaeda, they want to impose their radical philosophy in Pakistan. And whoever stand against their radical philosophy, they threaten them. When I'm leading this campaign against the Sharia laws, for the abolishment of blasphemy law, and speaking for the oppressed and marginalized, persecuted Christian and other minority, these Taliban threaten me. But I want to share that I believe in Jesus Christ, who has given his own life for us. I know what is the meaning of cross, and I am following of the cross.
In Shifa Hospital of Islamabad, and all the district administration and police officials are going over there, and now the security has been put on high alert in the federal capital, especially all those people who are belonging.
There's been worldwide condemnation of the murder of Shahbaz Bhatti, the only Christian minister in the government of Pakistan. Mr. Bhatti is the second senior politician there to be killed for speaking out against the country's controversial blasphemy laws.
The gunman struck as the minister's car was coming down the road.
में जहां पर नहीं हो सके हैं, इस बात की अभी सरकारी ज़राए से तस्दीक नहीं हो सकी है, ताहम शहबाज भट्टी की
For all, he is not only a martyr but a hero. Shahbaz Bhatti has won the hearts of masses in Pakistan.
He just had one aim in life and one mission in life, and that was to improve the plight of the religious minorities in Pakistan.
He was definitely a man with a dream, with a vision that we can live together as different religious groups.
Born in 1968 in the Punjabi Christian village of Kushpur, one of the few such places on the map of Islamic Pakistan. Shahbaz Bhatti was Pakistan's first Christian government minister. He grew up in a well-to-do, educated Catholic family. His father was a teacher. In an interview published in Christians in Pakistan in Trial Hope that became his spiritual testament, Shahbaz Bhatti alludes to one of the decisive experiences of his life.
I remember it was on Good Friday before Easter, when I was just 13 years old. I heard a sermon on how Jesus sacrificed, gave us redemption and salvation to this world. This was the moment when I thought to reflect on Jesus' love for us, which led me to sacrifice my life by serving Christians, especially the poor, needy, persecuted and victimized in this Islamic country. I have this passion and belief that they are part of our body in Christ.
He was very compassionate. What surprised me most was his relationship and association with brick kiln workers. They were not his relatives, they were not even his friends. He would just go to a brick kiln and would start talking to people. And he would ask them, how much do you get? How long do you work? Is it a hard work? He knew it was a very, very hard work. Is there a way I can help you? And they would laugh at him because he was just a boy. I discovered that among his friends were donkey cart people and even sweepers and janitors and so many people who were in touch with him.
We studied in a Christian school, we were living in a Christian village, and we didn't have any problem. But in a government school where the majority of the students is different, he was surprised facing different kind of people who expressed reservation, like sometimes people were saying they are not allowed to eat with other students with the same plate, with the same utensils. So for him it was very, very strange. He really got angry that this is not human, you see.
I met him in the college. He was beaten by the Islamic Jamaat Talaba, the student organization of Islamic radical group. And that was the time they were dominating all the universities and colleges in Pakistan. He was beaten because he belonged to the minority group, to the Christian community. And there he decided that he should raise his voice, that he is Pakistani, he belongs to this society.
Shahbaz Bhatti remembers that time in his book.
Along with my colleagues, I travelled the whole country, met with women, men, poor villagers, farmers, the needy and the oppressed. I spent time with them, I strengthened them, and I told them that they were not alone. Whenever anything happened, any act of violence, of terrorism, anything, we would reach them and help the people immediately. In any situation of flood, poverty, earthquake, natural disaster and violence, we would be there to help.
Wherever there was a case of victimization, whether it was a rape case, whether it was a case of people being deprived of drinking water, he would go where the victims are. And he would really, you could see that he felt it. The way he sat, the way he even almost cried in some places. You could feel it, that he was feeling for the people.
And yet, the status of Christians as well as members of other religious minorities has markedly deteriorated since Pakistan's foundation. Christians, who, not unlike Muslims, originate from the same ethnic group, today make up 2% of a society of over 180 million people. Together with the Hindu minority, they are the poorest and largely the least educated social group. Often discriminated in their search for decent employment, anybody with a Christian name can be condemned to failure, and finding work depends sometimes on a willingness to convert to Islam.
The Christians and the Hindus in Pakistan, they are considered as outsiders, they are considered as nothing. They had no land, they had no jobs, they wished to do menial work with the Muslims, and it was very difficult for them. It was like the apartheid of South Africa. The Christians were nobody.
Shahbaz Bhatti's protests over the years led to the abolition of the separate electorate system, as well as the abandonment of plans to include religious affiliation on identity cards. He united representatives from every minority under the banner of the All Pakistan Minority Alliance. Many Muslims numbered amongst his numerous friends, whom he endowed with great respect, endeavouring to help all people in need or suffering discrimination, irrespective of their religious belief or ethnic origin. He described what motivated him thus.
We are working with different religions in Pakistan, and I am blessed by the presence of many in our association. We work with Hindus, Sikhs, Zoroastrians, Kalashi, and others, and we also help Muslims. I consider that Jesus came for all the people of the world.
Some of the leaders which are open-minded, but there was a group who was not accepting this, who was thinking that he was not very much in favor of spreading Islam. He was anti-Islamic, but this was not true. He was the voice of the rights of the minorities and wanted to work against all the discriminatory laws, working to bring the religious groups in the mainstream. But this was not acceptable to specific groups, radical Muslim groups.
Introduced in 1985 by General Zia-ul-Haq, blasphemy laws continued to remain the biggest source of discrimination, as well as a threat to both Christian and other religious minorities alike. Anyone committing a blasphemous act towards the Quran faces a penalty of life imprisonment, whereas anyone found to be blaspheming against the Prophet Muhammad faces a death sentence. No evidence is required except the claims of 2 witnesses. Though the majority of blasphemy charges are brought against Muslims, the consequences of such a charge brought against Christians are far more serious. Sometimes whole families, villages, or Christian districts are forced to flee for fear of lynching by a crowd determined to mete out justice with its own hands. Even if, after numerous years, the High Court determines a person innocent, there is no chance of their returning to their previous life.
It can be any speech, any insinuation, any kind of gesture against the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, that would be punishable to death. Once that law came in, cases started coming up. So it was really an engineered law, and people wanted to make use of that law to discriminate against others.
Nobody has ever spoken against the blasphemy laws. We have always spoken against the misuse of the blasphemy laws. And that is exactly what Shahbaz Bhatti fought for, which eventually led to his assassination.
Towards the end of 2008, Shahbaz Bhatti, who up to that time had consistently refused to accept any public post, succumbed to pleas by Bishop Anthony Lobo to accept the nomination of Religious Minorities Minister in the Pakistan People's Party-led government. He thereby became the first Christian to hold public office in Pakistan's federal government. Within a short time, he managed to introduce a law guaranteeing minorities a 5% share of public posts, including Parliament. He also managed to inaugurate a National Minority Day on August 11th, the anniversary of Muhammad Ali Jinnah's famous speech. One matter which Shahbaz Bhatti became wholeheartedly involved with related to Azia Bibi, a Christian mother of 5 children who had been charged for blasphemous acts and accordingly sentenced to death. Open claims of misuse of blasphemy laws led to Shahbaz receiving a growing number of threats. It was not only Bishop Samuel Azaria who claimed that the source of Bhatti's strength was his deep religiosity that he never concealed. Once he wrote,
I want to share that I'm very much inspired by the Holy Bible and the life of Jesus Christ. The more I read the New and Old Testaments, the more it gives me strength, determination. The verses I like the most from the Holy Bible read, I came to you when I was hungry, when I was thirsty, when I was imprisoned. So when I see the poor people, I think Jesus might have come to me.
He had a Bible in his room, I know that. He had a rosary in his pocket many times, but in his room under his pillow, I know. In fact, he sometimes came to me and he asked for confession. He used to go for Sunday Mass. He believed in personal prayer.
He would read the Bible every day, and especially the Gospel of St. Luke, that Jesus came to preach good news to the poor, that he came to give liberty to the captives, so that the blind could see, that this was the time of the Jubilee. He always thought that this is the time of liberation for Pakistan, that if the Christians play a more important role, the whole country would live up to a new dream of the more liberated, more enlightened Pakistan.
Two years before his death, Bhatti wrote,
I do not want popularity. I do not want any position. I just want a place at Jesus' feet. I want my life, my character, my actions to speak for me and show that I am following Jesus Christ. Because of this desire, I will consider myself even to be more fortunate if, in this effort and struggle to help the persecuted and victimized Christians of Pakistan, Jesus Christ accepts the sacrifice of my life. I want to live for Christ and I want to die for him.
A few days before his assassination, my father told him, you need to beef up security. And he smiled and he said that, sir, Jesus is there to take care of me, and if I have to go, I have to go. If my name is written on a bullet, it'll get me. Eventually, 27 bullets got him.
When we left his home, a car stood directly opposite the gate. As soon as we drove out the gate, they immediately opened fire. I could not reverse back. A transformer stood on one side and a power pylon on the other. They opened the rear door in no time, and one of the men began to shoot. He was already firing as he came out of his car. It didn't even last a second.
It was for us a very big tragedy, the way we lost him. It was just, I think, a really fanatic, extremist reaction, again, to silence a person who had reached the level of minister and who was working to promote understanding between Islam and the other religions and working for harmony and peace.
आज है महफिल दीद के काबिल, शमा भी है परवाना भी, शमा भी है
You realize your love when the person is gone, and you don't realize when he is alive. This is part of the history, and we all know that.
शमा भी है परवाना भी, आज है महफिल.
I think it was the biggest funeral I have ever seen. And all people were shouting and crying and beating the breast and weeping. The whole country was in shock.
I think the martyrs are always living and his soul is here, and this is only for Shahbaz Bhatti, that we love you very much and we are here to fulfill your dreams, and Christians will not suffer anymore, and because we are here, we are holding your flags, we are chanting your slogans.
He is saint for us. He's a martyr. He always believed that Jesus is his salvation. He believed in the cross, and I think he kept that cross always before him. So he has given his life for Christ and for the people here of this country.
My human body is wounded, but these wounds are not physical wounds. They are the wounds of worry, of grief, of the sorrows and pains of the persecuted Christians of Pakistan, of the needy and the oppressed Christians. We are one family with the people who are in need. Thus, as a family, we should share the sorrows, the griefs and the sufferings of each other.
Una figura meravigliosa, Shahbaz Bhatti. A me restano veramente poche decine di secondi per dirvi pochissime cose. La prima, su Shahbaz Bhatti, ci tengo a precisarlo, la Chiesa del Pakistan a 6 anni, fra pochissimi giorni, a 6 anni dal suo assassinio, chiede a gran voce l'avvio della causa di canonizzazione. Secondo elemento, la Chiesa che soffre, aiuta la Chiesa che soffre, continua a dedicare un'enorme attenzione al Pakistan e alla comunità cristiana del Pakistan. Probabilmente già lo sapete, siamo stati impegnati nel mese di gennaio a sostegno delle donne cristiane del Pakistan con dei progetti splendidi. Per chi, e arrivo alla conclusione, è interessato ad informarsi, ad approfondire su tutto questo, come al solito a me tocca rimandarvi ad un numero di telefono e ad un sito internet. Se qualcuno ha voglia di farsi una chiacchierata, approfondire sui temi della Chiesa che soffre, del Pakistan nello specifico, 06 è il solito sottopancia, 69 89 39 34. Se invece volete molto direttamente andare a consultare, a controllare personalmente come stanno le cose, ad informarvi, i progetti, eccetera, Beh, il sito è il medesimo, è il solito, tutte le settimane a csl-italia.org. Sosteniamo i nostri fratelli cristiani nel Pakistan. Ricordiamo la figura di Shahbaz Bhatti e non dimentichiamo mai che ancora oggi Asia Bibi è detenuta ed è ancora oggi condannata a morte in attesa che venga eseguita la sua sentenza di condanna a morte. Ecco, facciamoci sentire con la preghiera, facciamoci sentire con l'informazione e per chi può. Ci siamo capiti. Grazie, ad una prossima occasione, alla prossima settimana con gli incontri con la Chiesa che soffre.